Happy Sunday morning here in a chilly Tucson, but it's always an honor to connect with cats around the globe who are searching for their own individual sound and trying to cut above the morass of what every other creative artist is trying to do. Be singular, be unique, and be themselves. Jaco, Abel, welcome to the Jake Feinberg Show.
Hello, everybody. Hello, Jake.
It's an honor to have you, man. I kind of wanted you to step back and just talk to the audience a little bit about what you feel are the antecedents or the precursors in order to make or create spiritual music.
Well, that's a deep subject. That already it's a pretty
Yeah, we're
deep
going
subject.
deep, dude. We're going deep.
I see right away from the beginning.
Not waste no reason to waste time.
That's all right. You're right. So, well, look, well, in my case, how things had happened through my life in my music career. Um, I have a very particular situation by, in the beginning, being a flamenco guitarist. Flamenco music from Spain, from the south of Spain, is a very particular music where it seems like it's a kind of a music where it seems to be like oil, like it's very difficult to people can join in this music in flamenco.
Mm-hmm.
We have our best guitar players is Paco de Lucia. I guess you have
Of
heard from
course,
him.
yeah, of course, yes.
So Paco, for example, recorded with many jazz artists, Brazilian artists, artists from around the globe, but none of them actually recorded in his records. Any of them, none of them. Only we have one solo from Chick Corea that is very nice in Ziri Up in one song from Paco, and another thing we have with George Benson in one record of Tomatito, which is very
Interesting.
nice. Yes, it's
Interesting.
only two very. Imagine, we have 20 years of YouTube and it's flamenco. You can see it everywhere, but still, it seems to be it's a very particular music, especially though to the ancient origins of it. You see, we are called gypsies because the name somehow comes from Egypt, Egyptians. So from Egyptian, it has moved the name into gypsies. Gypsies today.
Yes, of course.
But we are actually the Rom people, Rom Umani, and we are a tribe or a group of people from Egypt who has a history from. I mean, we can trace back around 3,000 years ago. So our music has a very spiritual and very long history compared to other musics that we can listen today. And it seems like this ancient way of making music, it seemed to have certain elements that music doesn't have today. And that's a fact. And the proof is that when we want to communicate with other musicians from around the globe, we can communicate with them, but they cannot communicate in our vocabulary, in our music, in our language. It's very strange, we all wonder, and we've been working on this for a long time. Not only me, the whole band of Paco de Lucia, with the head of Jorge Pardo, for example, who toured with Chick Corea, has 15 records. Carlos Benavent, who played with Miles Davis and Quincy Jones. I
Hmm.
mean, we are a group of flamencos, a very small amount of people here. Really, it's a small community. We are maybe, I don't know, maybe 200 musicians, 200, 250 great flamenco musicians. And we keep going around, especially going to America, who seems to be a place with a very like a brotherhood with Spain. I guess because of all the trading from the beginning of the encountering with Europe and America. So we always have this thing of having a brotherhood with America, but it's very difficult to find a bridge, a musical bridge. So. Um, uh, the, 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 the most particular of all is that flamenco music, all these people, all these fantastic guitar players, including Paco de Lucia, they don't have any theory trained. There is zero theory trained.
Of course.
We don't even know the names of the strings. And when I was listening to the father of Reinhardt, Reinhard Mels,
Wolfgang, yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah, he was saying exactly the same.
It was so
So
great.
Yeah, it was fantastic, and I'm a really good friend of Reinhard. I become friends with him, with Victor Little, we are a friend in common, you know. But I
Wow.
never knew about his father. So when I saw him, when I saw his face, you know, on the photo, I knew. He told me his parents were from Europe, but I didn't know exactly. But when I saw his father's face, you know, I can tell already there is a complete link with gypsies, you know. In Reinhard. Also Reinhard,
He
Reinhard.
came over on a steamboat, like 1949,
You know,
I want to break this down a little bit though. Like, what are the elements that you speak of that allowed the Gypsies to create ancient, timeless music is uh, that are essential?
okay, okay.
Because like Gabor Szabo was like that. Uh, Paco Sabicas. You know,
Exactly,
there
Sabika, very good.
there
Yeah.
was tablature, but
Well,
yet,
there is look, there is something very very particular, you know, in flamenco that is definitely not shared by Western music at all. You know, we have a background. Our background, being based in such an older time, is based on a circular way of on a circular way and on measuring time and not counting.
right,
You know, it's very
right.
different to measure and to count. That's
No,
something.
yeah, that is, you can feel the time, but you're not, there is no like, I guess sort of playing through time, and that's in that cycle.
Well, in as a beginning, it's actually how you're supposed to measure music is by measuring, not counting.
Right,
So Europeans, in the last 800 years, they have developed a system. That's not how music is as it is playing. You know, it was developed through the monks who were in the Normandic, you know, in the Saxonian in England and all the northern part of Europe, and it was all based in pitch. It wasn't based in rhythm at all. You know, so they never use a zero. They never begin counting on zero. I mean, all the measuring systems you have to have a zero to count, so you can divide, right? It's like if you are running on the Olympics and you take off, right? You are right on the race, you know, it's a racing, and then you take off. That counts as one, or you count one when you arrive again to the same point.
right,
You know, that's the big difference. Okay. If you have a zero, you count one when you arrive to the same point. That's how they count running. It's how you actually count anything in life that is action in time. Time has a zero. You know, 12 is 00. We met today at 16:00, 18:00, you know, I mean, here in Spain. So having a zero, it really changes the game completely because we can make really easy head operations in breaking in halves and in three parts. It's very easy for us.
right. That's
So
called the subdivision.
yeah, and it's not exactly the subdivision. It's how we measure the
That's what I
passing
mean.
of time.
Measuring, yes, measuring, yeah.
Measuring the passing of time. Yeah, yeah. Then subdivision is the smallest parts that they are between bits, you know, between the poles. That's what I call a subdivision.
Going back
Right.
to the idea of outside of even I tend to look at music, um, that it's all music,
It's
and it's the subjective part is either it's good or bad. And I wanted you to talk about being in a band and what the antecedents are to creating the opportunity for music to come through the collective from the heavens, so that you are like one living, breathing organism, and outside of your thinking mind.
okay. Actually, music is for us is no more than rhythm. You know, rhythm is the base of all music. For us, if whatever you play don't have rhythm, you don't give it a rhythm, a physical rhythm, it's not music for us. It's just sound. And it's okay to do sound. It's also right, you know, but for us it doesn't count as music. Everything we played, it's inside of a certain way of measuring the time passing. And that creates some sort of a high on the listener. You know, we have many different aspects while we play that create like a yeah, like a high, like a stone into play. You know, like and that creates a synergy between the listener and the music, because the listeners, they need also to keep rhythm as we play. A listener that doesn't keep rhythm while we play in flamenco is not really a listener.
Right. Right. No,
You
I
cannot
love
listen.
it's it, yeah. I mean that's
You need to
exact.
synchronize. You have to synchronize with the player, you know. And when you do
Exactly.
that, and then you listen to the guy playing what he's doing with rhythm while you are listening and keeping time, something in your inner state starts. I've seen. Look, I've seen Jake. I've seen people burst on tears in the middle of a concert. You know, I've been playing for people in New York or in other places, anywhere in the world, and in some moments when there is a lot of like a magic moment, people just explain, you know, explode in some kind of like emotional. When you play flamenco truly, you know, from the heart, there is no knowledge. You know, there is, you need to understand this. When we play flamenco, there is not really a theory that we study. We only keep the time, the pass, you know, the time passing. We keep it in a 12 beat circle. Meaning 12, meaning I can divide that in two parts, in three parts, in four parts, in five parts, in six parts, you know. It's like 60, dividing a circle in 60, you can divide for basically anything, you know. So we do, in place of having a straight compass, you know, the compass, we have the original compass. It comes from Egypt, and the compass is actually a circle that we play in that. So it's like the waves of the sea. So we play as in the waves of the sea. It's a very complex to explain to a
No,
Western world.
I mean that's because
No.
as a I'm a non-musician. I'm a journalist, an ambassador, and a
Yes.
broadcaster, and so I but everything I'm not theory based. So everything you're saying,
Oh, fantastic,
I mean,
fantastic.
I am last night. I take my brother to see this burning quartet, and the entire time, I mean, there were certain points where I was riding the crest of a wave. You know, it was just you are on. It's you are on the on in the flow state, and it's the most
E-
magical,
Exactly.
timeless thing in the world.
Exactly. I don't want to sound like I am very, you know, like crazy or something, or like, you know,
No,
old
no,
folks.
this is what my
You
show.
know,
That we've gotten
I,
so far away from. There's so
okay,
much
okay. Very good.
intellectualization of that. But I don't really want
Exactly.
to. I
Exactly.
want to know from you about the collective. Like, can you play? I mean, are you strictly a flamenco player, or do you play all styles?
Well, the fact is that in my case, I'm a very strange case of a gypsy. You see, I was born, my father, you know, yes, it happened to me. I was born in a circus while my parents were traveling in a circus through Europe in a
Wow,
flamenco show with
wow,
elephants and lions and tigers and fire and circles, you know, like,
wow.
no, it was, I have, you
Yeah,
know,
it was what they call a bazaar, right?
yes, he was crazy back then,
Yeah.
man. He was in the 60s, you know. I'm preparing a documentary about my life. Soon he's gonna come out with a new record and all of that. So you know, I will
Wow.
send it to you and you can see it. But the situation was pretty not usual, let's say, no. Then I returned, you know, returned here in Spain, and then my parents divorced. I grew up with my mom in a non-gypsy society. So and my mother never told me I was a gypsy. So I grew up, you know, I suddenly after my 8 years, something like this. I started being in touch, listening to this other guitar sound on the movies, you know, on the Western movies, and I thought it was a Spanish guitar, but it was not. It was an electric guitar. so,
Hmm.
so when I was 12, finally, we were under a dictation here in Spain. So the dictator passed away, and then we finally get electric guitars coming into the country. And when I first tried electric guitar, I took it since I was 12, and I've been playing electric all my life. Okay, so I am a both. I was raised as a gypsy in flamenco, but then later I developed in jazz. Then I went to America when I was 20 and I stayed 1 year and I learned how to play jazz and blues. I joined a black community in Seattle and I ended up playing gospel in church for a year every Sunday.
Oh my God.
Flamenco and blues is actually, for me, actually blues is a style of flamenco. You see, and the fact that many gypsies went to America in the 18th century, 19th century. I've been doing a big research, and there is many similarities in blues and rock and roll, and many already people who have said that gypsy music has a lot of influence in New Orleans music, and also in Mississippi music, in rock and roll.
Wow.
I mean, you know Elvis Presley, right? The
Yeah, of
first
course.
record from Elvis
Yeah.
Presley, right? The first
Uh-huh.
one who did it in Tennessee, right? Okay, if you see the name of the band, Elvis was a gypsy. His mother was a gypsy from Romania. Okay, so the guitar player, what's his name?
Yeah, Scotty Moore.
Scotty Moore. Okay, Moore, it's a Normandic name that means Moorish, Moorish from North Africa. Okay,
Right.
we have plenty of Moorish. Okay, the drummer is called DJ Fontana. Fontana is a it means fountain in Latin language, so it's either Spanish or Italian, so a
Right.
Latin guy. And the bass player is called Bill Black. So, when I got this record, they told me, oh, this is music from America. It's a new way of making music. It's rock and roll. But today I look at this and I go, oh, this is a Moorish, a Latin guy and a black guy,
Right. Right.
So, and a
I
gypsy
mean, you
singing,
feel like
you
the
know.
you feel like the gypsies that immigrated to the United States in the 18th,
Oh,
19th,
yes.
in the
Oh, yes.
18th. No, let me just
Yes.
ask the question. The 18th and 19th century, they they come in contact with
They,
a lot of slaves.
well, they were slaves themselves, amigo.
Right. So
We
that
were
there
slaves.
you go. That's where it all is. Yes.
Yes, we were taken to New Orleans, and we were also highly persecuted in Europe for 600 years, and we still are.
Yeah.
But many, in the heavy times of persecutions, many left and got in boats and went and moved to New Orleans, and they mixed a lot with the natives. There was a politics from the Spanish Coron back then that they took the ladies and made them married with Native Americans from the West Coast. And the men, the gypsy men, were sent to the Caribbean to work there in plantations.
Wow.
So all of this is not really
So what I'm saying is that Genesis and that milieu of the blues, it makes sense because
well,
it was the gypsies were, I mean, it was a melting pot with all the people, the slaves that were taken from Africa.
yes, but the first migrators since Columbus were also many Moorish were removed from the peninsula. All Europe was sending everybody brown to America,
Right.
to colonize. Spain didn't have an army of 2 million people. It was only in 15th century there was not even 3 million people living in Spain in the whole peninsula. So they only did it by sending people, making small penitentiaries, and making agreements with the tribes, and colonizing by mixing with everybody out. So all Mexican, all the area of Mexican California, they are all mixed with Moorish and Gypsies, and all of them, all the
Absolutely.
natives. This is, and the guitar. Where is the guitar from? The Spanish guitar from? If the
Right.
guitar that arrived to America arrived in the Spanish boats, and we were already playing. We play guitar. The guitar it traces back to 5,000 years ago in Mesopotamia. That's all in Egypt. They already had guitars back then. In the shape of harps with a resonance box. So
Right.
we have been playing this instrument for thousands and thousands of years. And of course, if we go to anywhere, we always take guitars with us. So those first guitars that arrived to America, all the left hand and right hand and small mechanisms that you do, they passed on to the blues guys. What did the blues guys play? Guitar, no? What is the setup of Elvis Presley Hound Dog? You have four guys playing hand claps, a guitar, and a singer playing acoustic guitar. That's a aesthetics of a gypsies. No, there's no in African culture people hand clapping for another guy playing guitar and a guy shoe dancing on the floor. That's
Right.
a that's a gypsy music aesthetics that comes from a different background than the Africa or the slaves from Africa that were sent in a different moment to America. And they all mixed up there, and then they say that they were all black and they were all slaves. But this is, I mean, Africa is humongous. It's not the same being African from Kenya than being from Egypt than being from South Africa or from Zimbabwe. They're completely different cultures with a completely different musical background. you
Yeah.
know
I mean, all I would say is that I mean, without the African, uh, the drum obviously had its own language, and
yes.
that rhythm brought, in my mind, those African rhythms that were maintained in the islands, and then eventually came to New Orleans. I mean, that blended with European harmonies, that became
Yes,
jazz.
yes, definitely. Oh, definitely so. I mean, the thing is that this is a product. I mean, music is always positive for the human race. I
Right.
mean, it's the glue that links all of us. We are all connected with music. There is no no doubt at all. That's actually That's actually the meaning of music. It's a language, it's a vocabulary, something that we can communicate without words and we cannot argue. It's very difficult arguing with music when you play. So
Well,
music,
sometimes you. I mean, was there? What was the most humbling experience? Music. I mean, obviously, you're a pretty live wire, and you found out you were from a pretty avant-garde. The just the gypsy life. Your parents. Um, I mean, in terms of coming to the States, was there something that was humbling for you, maybe a style or even just interpersonally? Can you talk about
well, it was right away when arriving to the States in my search of understanding and knowing electric guitar, I right away went into the blues scene right away. Right away. That was the people that connected with me. We didn't even have to talk. We just played and it was right away. Blues people have rhythm, it's also music without any music theory in the beginning.
right?
Later on everything has been overanalyzed. But this music in origins, like flamenco, it's a music that it's played from the heart. Blues players didn't even know how to tune guitars in the beginning.
Well, they had
It's
their
the,
own tuning.
their own tuning, yeah.
Yeah,
Well, I mean, tuning as a standard tuning, meaning.
right, exactly.
But
I know
this
Alan Toussaint told me that they used to tune to your heart.
you tune to your heart. We do the same. We don't tune on 440. Some days
Right.
is more humidity on the air, and then we tune less, low, high. It depends on the singer. Or we use a capo too. So we live in nature. All our philosophy is like Native American philosophy. We are very very close to Native Americans, and we have the same background. We come from Indo-Africa, all of us.
Wow.
Already it's already proven that the whole continent it was full of people with cultures. It wasn't Columbus who discovered America. That's a European idea. So, well, one of the most incredible experience to me was the fact that growing up in a society was non-gypsy, so I learned how to play blues and jazz. I had incredible experiences, and at some point I returned to America. Uh, um, and there I got the most incredible gigs that one artist could imagine. Look, I lived a life of a dream in my career. I could never think I will be hanging with Scofield, with Chicoria, with Paco de Lucia, with all this living in Tomatito's house for X months. Staying with the greatest musicians on earth. I never thought I will reach to be with those guys.
Right.
It first happened in the Western music world. So I ended up staying in America for 5 years. And doing the Miles Davis anniversary, 50th anniversary, they chose among all the players in the world to have me to play Miles Davis' role at the 50th anniversary in New York, a recording, live recording. And I also participated in the other tribute they did to Miles Davis at the Hollywood Bowl in Los Angeles. I was playing with Christian McBride and Jimmy Cobb and Peter Erskine and all the rest of the guys there.
Incredible.
Yeah, oh, incredible, amigo. I was hanging in LA. I was working there. Somebody called, Vince Mendoza called, and then suddenly I was in the Hollywood Bowl there, working with these guys. So my life has been always a little,
There's magic there. There's a
surprise.
there's
Yeah, like
magic.
magic. Exactly. We gypsies live in rivers, man. I'm like, I feel always like I'm on the flow. I'm on the flow. Yeah, I'm like a cork on a river, and I'm just flowing with it. And
I
I
love it.
cannot stop. Even if I want to, I can't stop it. But
But I mean,
look.
how did you immerse yourself in the blues scene, but then ultimately what was the breakthrough to get
Well,
recognition and become intimate with these masters?
they called me. I don't know. I mean, I was going from here to there, and people hear me playing. I remember in Amsterdam, I played in front of what is the name of this pianist from Funny All Stars? What's his name?
Oh, Larry Harlow.
Larry, yeah, Larry. So I was leaving the stage, and Larry was going in with his band to play, and then he says to me, "Hey, where are you going?" I said, "Oh, I just finished my." He says, "No, no, 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 no. Take your guitar and go into with me, with my band." And so I end up visiting New York and hanging in his house with him. So I don't know how it happens.
Wow,
People
man.
come and tell me,
Wow.
"Hey, come, let's go." He was telling me stories about Woodstock and about Mozambique with the fight with Muhammad Ali and all of that.
Oh my
So.
God. Yeah, no, that was so dude, that Uh,
It's crazy. It's
oh my
crazy.
God. I mean, that's Manu Dibango, all those cats, you know?
Yeah, yeah. No, no. He introduced me to El Duque, the contrabass player. No, no. It's been always going like this with me.
Yeah,
I
I
never, I
know.
never had a
Yeah.
manager, Jake. I never had a manager. Things just happened to me. I don't know how.
Yeah, no,
But the
I definitely am very humbled to connect with you because um, like it doesn't uh it's like when you get in that river and the current is there, you have to surrender to that because you are just being pushed. You're just being guided along, and if you try to control anything, then that's when it kind of falls apart.
exactly. You have to. Yeah, exactly. How very good you explained that. Very good. Yes.
Um,
Yes.
so I
You
mean,
can't
like,
resist.
what was the you know, in your mind, like we just talking to younger cats. I mean, I've interviewed guys that Larry Coryell, people that were around Miles, that
Yeah, I spoke
Dave,
with Larry. Yes.
that Dave
I know.
Liebman, and these
Yeah.
guys were like Miles would have all these sort of statements, like don't finish your phrases and stop before you're done when you're soloing. I'm wondering about certain Gypsy Zen lines that you could foster on younger kids who, have grown up in a totally visual society, are much more fascinated in facility and chops as opposed to feel and actually
Uh,
telling a story. I mean, what would be a little bit of your Zen knowledge or wisdom that you could pass along to younger
okay.
cats who are searching?
Okay, let me give you a little rewind here, and I give you
Sure.
the answer. After doing all of these incredible concerts, I was offered in America to do, to stay there and be like the new guy in guitar. I
Wow.
got they brought me to this amazing 92 floor in New York, and they offered me an amazing contract. And I was just there, and I thought, well, if I say yes, I'm staying here in America, and I'm gonna be part of the American industry, and I am not a part of any industry. And I rejected. The person who was accompanying me wanted to kill me on the way down from the elevator,
I'm
92
sure. No,
floors.
I mean, but as a you're a gypsy. You're not a capitalist.
Exactly, exactly. Then I told the gentleman who's a very extremely well-known high place music industry gentleman who was very nice with me, and I thank him, and I said, look, I really thank you, but I'm going back to the gypsy community. I have a feeling I need to find my things there myself. There's something I need to go. So I actually rejected all of that, and I took a plane and I went to the gypsy community, and there one of the first person I encountered was this gentleman, Pepe Habichuela, who is one of the four brothers who are the masters of flamenco, of the material, of the amount of flamenco. They hold it in their family because this is not written music. This stays in families. Okay, Paco de Lucia's playing contains 20% of the Habichuela's family material.
Mm.
Okay, so this gentleman, when I met him and he played in front of me, look, I've been in some situations you cannot believe, hanging out with the most incredible guys and heavy players you cannot even imagine. And this guy sit down with a broken guitar, with a wood guitar, sit down and play one song for me. And he broke my heart. He broke my heart so bad that I had to swallow my own pride and all my own, how can I say, my own
Ego.
ego. Yeah, no, I'm not very ego kind of guy, but my own,
Yeah, I know
my,
your
my
own
own,
disposition. Yeah, total.
yes,
The
think,
conceptions, the conception. Yeah,
yes, my own conception of where I am and who I am
yeah.
and where I am and what I'm doing in this world. I mean, suddenly I realized that I was nobody next to this, 70-year-old man who could,
The broken guitar, dude. I
with a
love
broken
it.
guitar, just playing a few things, and he was so direct. So we ended up becoming really good friends. He's an incredible maestro, I have to say too. Pepe
Yeah.
Bichuel. So I end up changing, canceling everything, all my tours, my gigs, and I stay every day with him for 8 years. Every day hanging with him, not even playing, just sitting next to him, listening to him play every day for 5, 6 hours every day, and playing compás, making just rhythm for him, like, bulerías or tangos or, whatever rhythm. And after 8 years, I recovered everything that I forgot when I was a child. It came back to me. And somehow I ended up meeting my cousin, and I met my father, family, and I knew then all the photos, I knew then I was a gypsy then. But I was almost 50 years old when I found out I was a gypsy. Okay. So
Why was that like a big secret?
well, we have a very particular thing, the Gypsies. We see we have a very close community, and all the families mostly married among their own families or other families among the Gypsies. We maintain a very closeness because we have. It's been a need of surviving, that we join together. So we are very in this country in Spain. We are really keep away, keep apart from all the. We don't live in the Spanish society. We have our own society parallel to the Spanish society in a certain way, also musically. The moment I identify myself in Spain to be a gypsy, all my jazz gigs they disappear. I don't know how.
So I mean, your parents just wanted to sort of insulate you from all that
My
segregation.
mother, well, my mother, I was raised in a non-gypsy society, so she never said that. So we never really knew, and I didn't have contact with my father, never. And also, my father's family was hiding it also because it was a problem to live in a society when you were saying you were a gypsy. I mean, imagine 150 years ago. Well, actually, last century, in half last century, they could take you and put you in a boat and have you rowing for 6 years just to be a gypsy. I mean, it's not. It wasn't really.
Jesus.
We didn't
Because
even have.
I just want to be clear. They view the gypsies as a threat.
We were persecuted until 1994, I think. That
Because what I'm saying is because you refuse to conform and you're in the river flow and you
Exactly. We
yeah.
refused to conform with a society who was, a very feudalistic way that you have to
Yep.
pay taxes and you have to do
Uh,
this and you have to do that. You need to go to school. You need to pay, your work for the government and and all of this. We never had this kind of life in all our history. Actually, nobody had that in their history. This is something very recent. All this.
it's really interesting. Yeah.
So we maintain still, we live, I've been in situations where you look around, I'm in a gypsy situation, in a wedding or something, you look around, brother, I am like in a 200 years old scene, I mean, it's like in a movie. It's like you are like, wow, this is, these people actually, we are still living in a 200, 300 of 5 or 1,000 years ago environment, and costumbres, the things we do, the culture in general. So this fact of hanging with Pepe and me having I studied everything. I did the whole classical career on guitar. I did it also with 2 years in trumpet and 3 years in violin. I studied blues. I studied, I play with, I learned blues with the black people. I learned jazz with the real jazz players, with Billy Hart, with all the great jazz players. I end up playing with these guys. I don't know how. And then after, when I get to 50 years old, I meet this guy who knows zero about theory music and takes a guitar and breaks my heart. That that made me think. So I spent 10 years rejecting everything I've learned in schools and everything that I've been told. I even did an audition for Berkeley when I was 16, and they rejected me because they told me I was already made a musician. I was 16. I was so sad they reject me. They rejected me. I thought, oh my God, but all my friends are going to this scholarship. Why do you? I cannot go. They say, well, you when you play, you are already a done. You only need to play and make your life, and everything will be okay with you. That's what the teacher told me. The people there from Berkeley. And I thought, oh man, I was so sad, and I'm so glad I didn't go now. I'm like, oh,
Who was it? Like Mick Goodrick? Who was the teacher?
I don't know. I can't remember. It was Arthur Bernstein. I think it was a guy who
Oh,
was.
Peter Bernstein, maybe?
No, no, no. Arthur Bernstein. I know Peter is a guitar player from New York. No, no,
Right.
Arthur Bernstein. He was a
Oh.
teacher in a school in Spain that later was doing all this Berkeley program, exchange program with musicians from Spain to America. But anyway, I I the fact that I had to reject everything that I've been studying in the classical world or jazz, modern harmony. I studied arrangements. I studied everything in music. I wanted to be. I'm trying to be the best in the world, or the best I can be, at least. And uh, and then this guy comes and gives me the biggest lesson, in my life. in 3 minutes. It broke my whole philosophy of life, and then I had to change my whole philosophy, and I relearned how to play music. I removed how to first and how what to think and what to play, and I only started choosing to play what comes from my heart, nothing that comes from my head. Only sometimes I put a little bit of it because then it makes me very intelligent. But what comes from your heart, what you can when you play, it really has to come out from, I don't know how to say it, but it's just from inside. When you hear it, it's like a language, like I'm speaking to you. I don't know what I'm going to say next, but I am talking to you. Okay? So it's like this. You just talk with sound and rhythm. Basically, it's not sound, it's rhythm, and it's made in sound. So what I hear inside is not, like mixolydian, flat nine, this diminish, all this whole tone scale and arpeggios. No, no, no. I hear taka, raka taka taka taka, tumba, iya, pa, tio, pa, ta, asa, tai, you know, it's just
So
there. It's
I
an
want to be
emotion.
clear. I want to be clear that your advice to younger cats would be play from your soul and heart and not your head.
Yes, but that's difficult because you have been over
Stimulated, but yeah,
informed, stimulated with
right.
with information about
The
music.
academy, yeah, the academy,
Yes.
yeah, yeah.
Music doesn't start counting on one. Music doesn't have four beats. I can play one song, and in the same song, my foot can go on five different pulses. Or it's music is humongous, but the path of history and different societies has changed music and manipulated in a way towards the convenience of the moment. That has, but these changes, they always in a way come back in a positive way for humanity. Look, all classical music from 17th century, you know, where they used to take the how is that, the Gregorian chant,
Right.
all this school where they used to castrate the children so they could sing and all of this. Okay, all of this time, you know, 200 years later, all the sons of the slaves who were slaves, the African slaves who were in the States, like Miles Davis, Charlie Parker, Coltrane, they took these melodic minor scales from this music and put it into jazz, improvisation. Music is always positive. No matter how crazy what people do or how to try to control this music is uncontrollable. It's something that it's inside of us. It cannot be controlled by governments or systems of music. At the end, we go back always to that inner emotion. We are humans. Otherwise, we will not be humans. The moment we don't have that with music, humanity is finished. It's over. It's the primary language of humanity, music. you know.
You talk about you play music with Reinhardt?
Yes, I played a few times with Reinhardt, and
Can you talk about his time feel and
well, Reinhardt is a very special guy. I met him through Victor Little, who's a bass player who lives in San Francisco. He's at Chicago originally, and we met in Seattle when I went to Seattle when I was 20. If I have a little time, I can tell you, I got to the States
yeah.
without really knowing how I got there. I imagine a poor kid in Barcelona in a country where we had 40 years of dictator. It was the country was disaster. When the Americans came and they stopped the Germans and the Italians, they didn't stop the dictations. The fascism in Spain. We still were in a fascism until almost 1980.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, going to America, we didn't even have visas to go there, tourist visa. We couldn't even get there. So somebody made a mistake and put a lot of money in my bank account by mistake. I swear to God, they put a lot of money. So I went to my bank and I said, "Wow, what's all that money?" I was trying to save money to go to America, and I saw a lot of money in my bank. So I asked for a receipt, recipe, script.
Mm-hmm.
So they gave me, and then I went to the embassy, and with that they gave me a visa to go to America because it seemed like I was rich in the bank, but it wasn't, it was not my money. So with that, I took a plane. I had to go to Miami with my somebody who was going to house me there, but then it went wrong, and I ended up going to Seattle to the house of the mother of an ex-girlfriend of mine who I met in Barcelona. So suddenly, from one week to another, I was from being in Barcelona to be in Seattle, there for 1 year with, with some bread, with some money, to stay there. So the first time I went out, the first lady I met when I arrived to America in 20 years old, and I got there, I don't even know how, was the cousin of Jimi Hendrix.
No
So
way.
I end up later on meeting her and hanging out with her there for 5 years. So, Jake, I tell you, I don't know how this thing happened, but they happened to me, and this is why we're making this documentary because it's like a little bit like
Yeah, no, I really, Jaco, I must say, like, this is a profound. When I talked to Wolfie, I did two interviews with Wolfie, and he played with the association, and he played with Jim Keltner and Gabor Zabo, and like no formal training, and yet he's
yeah,
the most like you know just like organic, beautiful
yeah,
musician, and you represent that as well. I mean, do you feel um obviously it's important to document your life, and you are um adamant about your lineage, musical and family. Are you at peace in your life?
am I what?
Are you at peace?
What do you mean a piece?
Are you at peace with who you are?
Oh, finally, yes, yes, yes,
You
yes,
talk
yes,
about
of course.
what you say finally. Is it
Yeah.
because of
Oh, it
now?
wasn't. Yeah, it wasn't before at all. Yeah, yeah, at all. I was in a constant search on who I am, where I
Right,
come from. But
right,
I was hanging with all mostly with blacks in America, and I would see them dancing, and I love it, but it's not my shape. That shape of dance. It wasn't my shape. We dance, geometrically. We have a different. We are angular. Flamenco is a very angular music. It's not. It's
right,
not like,
right,
like Brazilian music that is round. Brazilian they dance roundly also. We dance vertical. We dance with a geometry, a different thing. So that is what I realized with Reinhardt. Reinhardt has that, and I didn't understand. He told me that his family is from Europe, and I had no idea. And Victor played with him, and then he plays with Gino Vanelli also, Reinhardt. That's how I met. He was in Barcelona. He called me up, and I went to meet him at the hotel. He said, "Hey, I want you to introduce to Gino Vanelli." So I
wow,
met
I didn't
Gino.
know that. Wow.
Yeah, and then Gino invited me to play with him, and then and with Reinhardt also. And Gino I knew Gino's record since I was 16. Imagine, So Reinhardt, I don't know, somehow when we meet, it's like we are back to Europe, somehow. I can feel his genetic background and history. You know, the Gypsy children grew up already playing music, already playing in time, very complex things. We don't understand how it is, but we look at each other in the Gypsy clan and we always go, "Oh, he's an old man," But most of our kids are already. It's like horses. You see, they take the horses and they put them together to get the best horse for jumping and for racing and for running. We have been doing that with music for thousands of years, since the Egyptian times, since 6,000 at least, you know. So when you see a person that already makes music by itself, and he has that way of subdividing in 60 and 12, it's a different way, of playing music. There is not measuring, it's just expressing. Then you become a brother right away. And when somebody listens to me doing that, they do the same. And I didn't notice that until later on. And I thought, oh, now I understand where all these incredible musicians, I've been having the chance to be with them. Because when they hear you playing, they understand your language and they feel identified with you and they want to embrace you because they also, the same happened to them probably, in the beginning. We don't know, it's inside. It's something that, and I've found the Gypsy flamenco to be the most rhythmically complex possible to be in the whole world. And I tell you, I've been touring for 35 years worldwide, playing with all kind of cultures all around the world. And flamenco music is the most amazing. And when you speak to gypsies, they have zero knowledge of theory. And you go, wow, what something important it is in to know zero. It's something very important has to be in to know nothing. You know,
That is
that is
that
what I
that is that exactly. Jaco, listen, let's as you get closer to the documentary release, let's do set two so we can promote it. I look forward so much to
Oh, thank you very much.
to
Thank you very much.
to
I will need everybody's help. Yes, definitely.
it will happen in its own time too. That's the point, is that um, when you step back from it all, the high art, the high quality art, always reveals itself.
Yes,
And
not only that, Jake, I found a beautiful lady. She passed by me when I was at Pepe Habichuela's house in Christmas, and she passed. I didn't even see her face. I smelled her. She just crossed by, a gypsy girl, and I said, "She's my wife," and she's today my wife for 23 years. I found the love, I found a family, I found my father's family, I found myself, I found my past, I found my ground. I'm a solid person now inside, and my music, it comes with it. So it's not only the art, it's really everything around, everything else around you kind of like fits in place, you
that's
know?
right. Yeah, no, it's the entire
The entire
life
thing, yeah.
story. Yeah.
It's a vibration. It's a whole vibration. I can imagine all the people who went to the States, were brought there to work as slaves, and also many gypsies, and were left. I mean, Spain, that they gave up the California, they gave up New Mexico and all of that, and they just left all the Spanish there, and they just took the boats and came back to the peninsula, to Spain. And you know how many gypsies and descendants of gypsies live today in all that area? What is that festival you guys have in Santa Fe, in Albuquerque?
Hmm.
That's a flamenco festival, right? That is
Yeah.
one of the oldest flamenco festivals in the world. What is it doing in Albuquerque?
Wow.
Santa Fe, all of that area. Jeff Ballard, for example, Jeff, the drummer.
Mm-hmm.
Jeff came to Barcelona with Jordi Rossi, the drummer who plays with Brad Meldau. Brad Meldau, Ben Street, Jeff Ballard, and Chorus and Winkle came to Barcelona. We met, and Jeff ended up playing 1 year in my band. And I showed him all flamenco. We showed him all the flamenco rhythms. When he arrived to New York, Chick Corea saw him playing one time, and the rest is history. You know it. If you ask Jeff, he will tell you the story. So
Jaco,
so
bless you, man. We will do this again, man. I'm very humbled by this.
I am too. I'm really thankful. Jake, you are an amazing spirit. I saw your web, and I already congratulate you for your work, man. You are really amazing. How you put everybody together, and the way you let people say the truth about music. Everything is so Europeanized today. It's cut in pieces and do this and do that, and then
Right
if
to
you
the
do this.
source, dude. Right to the source, dude.
Exactly, man. You are right. You're right to the bone, to the heart. It's difficult to find people like this all around today. Yeah,
Yo,
I
bless
know.
you, man. I appreciate you saying that a lot. We'll be in touch. We'll do set two soon, okay?
I am here for wherever you need me, Jake. Thank you very
Hey,
much.
man. And listen, if you come back to the States, you let me know.
Oh, I will. I definitely will.
Much love, Jaco.
Much love, man. Peace
All
for
right, be
everybody.
cool, man. Be cool.
Yes.
Later.
Love it.
Bye
Bye
bye.
bye.